New cards, PogChamp. New cards, PogChamp. Vlad, this is the portion that you cut in order to make us a bunch of free money. Everyone who's watching on YouTube, remember to like, comment, subscribe, click the ad, suck me off. I hope that doesn't end up in the first 8 seconds. Anyway, here's what we got. The second coming of the Dimensional Overlord. Man, we're not, you know what, actually, we're not touching that one. So these are Pendulum cards. Wait, don't post Bedge. Don't post Bedge. They're interesting. Now, if you can stay awake through me reading their effects, maybe we can throw them into the big incestuous slurry that is Pendulum decks these days. All right, let's see what we got. Supreme King Gate Magician. Whoa, more like Supreme King Gay Magician. This is a homosexual. Whoa. Regardless of his sexual affiliation, we can also... He is white. Let's see what we got. Pendulum effect. You can only use the second pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. Supreme King Zark you control cannot be banished by your opponent's card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, put a Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your hand or deck in your pen zone except Supreme King Gate Magician. That seems insane. That card seems unbelievable. And let's check the other ones. If you have a Supreme Gate card other than Supreme King Gate Magician in your Pendulum zone, you can send a Pendulum Dragon, Xyz Dragon, Synchro Dragon, or Fusion Dragon monster from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. When this card is special summoned, you can add a card that mentions Supreme King Zark from your deck to your hand, except a spellcaster. This card's insane. This card is unbelievable. I'm also realizing that it is nude Astrograph, right? Am I wrong? This looks like Astrograph, but they took the robe and they went, "Wah!" And they're showing you their, you know, shaved off Ken doll pussy. This is incredible. So first and foremost, destroy this card and put a Supreme King Pendulum monster from your hand or deck is insane. I honestly feel like this card probably can't exist at the same time as Electromite, so this might be bad news for the OCG. But this monster effect's unbelievable. You can send a one of the dragons from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard. I imagine that includes Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, right? Is he one of these? Supreme King Dragon Darkworm? Is he Supreme Pendulum Dragon? Oh, he's not? When they say extra deck, does it have to be face up extra deck, or can it be can it be from your face down extra deck? Either? Oh, okay, so you can just summon him for free. Cool, so you can just summon him for free, and then when he's special summoned, he adds a Supreme King Zark card from your deck to your hand. Cool. So he gets you the scale that you're missing. If you have one of these in scale, he gets you the scale you're missing. He's half of Electromite or Beyond the Pendulum. Wow, this is the craziest card ever printed. Holy fuck. Wow. Nice. Next up, Supreme King Dragon Lightworm.
But what do you think the Amazoness call sounds like? Probably something like...
Ah! Jaspi, thank you for the $1. Gatekeeper, I'm the gatekeeper. Ghostbuster, are you also the girl bosser and the gaslighter? Smart. If a monster is special summoned and you control Zark and another Pendulum monster, special summon this card, then you can choose one other Pendulum monster you control, the attribute and level of that monster, or this card become the attribute and level of the other. I don't know what this is for. I have no idea what this is for. If this card is normally special summoned, you can add a face-up Supreme King Dragon or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro Xyz your Supreme King Dragon monster. If face-up Pendulum monster is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is face-up in your extra deck, you can add this card to your hand. They can't all be winners. They can't all be winners. This one does not seem particularly good for me, but I could be wrong. Whoa! Supreme King Celestial Odd Eye. That's not the name of the fucking card. Supreme Celestial King Odd Eyes Arc Ray Dragon. And we are not beating the Actman allegations. Come on. This is basically Gustav Bumbler. This guy is really showing off his Supreme Celestial King Odd Eyes Arc Ray Dragussi here on the cover. Whoa. Kind of looks like a Vita. Kind of looks like World Gears of Theological Demiurgy. Kind of looks like my ex-wife. You can only use the pendulum of this card's name once per turn. If you have 2 cards in your pendulum zone, you can special summon this card Then shuffle a card from your Pendulum Zone into the deck. Then if it returned to the extra deck, you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. How the fuck does that happen? It doesn't. Any Pendulum extra deck. Oh, a monster that's in your Pendulum Zone that is not a main deck monster. Got it. Okay. So all of the cards that make Yugi Boomer see that Showtime go easy on me, those cards do trigger this. But that's funny. Monster effect. 4 dragon monsters. A fusion, a synchro, an Xyz, and a pendulum. This card's name is always treated as Supreme King Zark. Important. That is in parentheticals, which means it applies to deck building. Also means you can summon it off that fucking card that just summons him out. This face down card in the extra deck must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a Zark. Oh? If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can place a pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum Zone. This card in the monster zone is destroyed, put it in your Pendulum Zone. That's... He's good for sure. He's like a good card. It remains to be seen how realistic it is that you'll summon this card. That trap helps, but I imagine they will print new cards that make this more good. Like a scenario in which you're summoning this, I imagine you've already got scales. We'll see. Pendulum Evolution. All these effects are once per turn. You can shuffle a Pendulum monster from your hand into the deck. Add a Pendulum monster with 20... You're fucking kidding me. You know, it's shocking that this might not even be good. Despite letting you trade in for the craziest card in the history of time. If you special summon a face-down Pendulum monster from your extra deck this turn... What? Oh, so that's if you summon a Pendulum monster that's not a main deck monster. You can immediately... Oh, my fucking god. How searchable is this card? Alright, so there's no way Electromite lives. This card is printed as if you are making exactly Beyond the Pendulum, right? The downside of Beyond the Pendulum is you have to perform the Pendulum summon really early in the combo if you actually want to access anything. But this circumvents it by giving you an additional Pendulum summon. So you Pendulum summon to fulfill the obligation on Beyond the Pendulum, and then later in the turn, you perform another Pendulum. Wow. You know, it helps that this is like the most searchable card in the universe. Can't you get this shit off Duelist Alliance? Oh my god. You can target a Supreme King Zark you control. It can attack all opponents' monsters once each this turn. Who cares? This card's very cool. And finally, the Light-Winged Dragon. During the main phase, add a Supreme King Dragon or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. That's just what it says. Wow. That's really just what it says. Just fucking add Darkworm, dog. We're playing 9 Darkworm now. Wow. Thanks for saying Zark, by the way. Really appreciate that. And finally, Miracle of the Supreme... Oh, there's 2 more. Miracle of the Supreme King. You control Zark, activate one of these effects. Destroy a Supreme King Zark, special summon an Odd Eyes, or a light Supreme King Zark from your deck or extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. Put a face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck in the Pendulum Zone. Put a quick play spell. Set a quick play spell from your deck. I mean, this is a good card, but it's a trap, right? Soul of the Supreme Celestial King. Tribute a spellcaster Pendulum monster with 2,500. Fusion summon a Supreme King Zark by banishing fusion materials listed on your hand, extra deck, field, or graveyard, but its effects are negated unless you have a banished one of each. This is interesting. This mentions Zark, so you can get it with the guy on the card. is Zark powerful enough that just quick synchroing into it is really good? He's a nuke on summon. Okay, I maybe... Listen. You all know me as the guy who hates Pendulum, right? I'm sorry to tell you that you have all been misled. Despite the fact that I constantly rally against Pendulum as a design choice, I am probably the second most knowledgeable guy when it comes to all the Pendulums that have ever been playable. I think I have played every single Pendulum deck ever released in some capacity, right? And, you know, I think you all could figure this out based on how I endlessly gush about Metal Foes and Abyss Actors and the normal Pendulum deck and Klee and shit. I think that it is a really, really bad design principle, but I think it is a pretty interesting deck. And the point at which I checked out is basically when it became this big slurry of every good Pendulum card, like Endymion, like Pendulum Magician onward, like as Endymion was added and everything. I may be way off on this, but I think I've got enough expertise to be able to say these cards seem insane to me. They seem absolutely bonkers. They seem out of this fucking world. And I think that they might revolutionize how we conceptualize the Pendulum strategy. This guy's going to be crazy. We're going to be playing Darkworm. We're going to be playing Astrograph. We're going beyond the Pendulum. We're going to try and Pendulum summon twice using this card, probably. And this is a hell of a payoff. This is a really nice payoff. Field nuke on your opponent's turn, as well as unbelievable follow-up, because once that card leaves the field, it goes to your zone, you can summon it out, and then you can tag it into this guy that just wins the game on the crackback because it sets the best scale from your deck. I'll be tinkering with this in the coming weeks. I'll be tinkering with this for sure. Because it's a type of gameplay that I really appreciate. I don't like that Pendulum, even on a good day, basically devolves into I'm going to make the generic extra deck negates, like watch my Baron, watch my Apollosa. And then Draco Slayer came out, and everyone was like, oh my goodness gracious, how cool is this deck? Oh yeah, it's really sick that you made Baron and also searched Hidden Village of the Spellcasters. That was really cool. But, yeah, I really like where this is going. It seems crazy powerful. They do need to give us the real Zark frame for sure. My guy, it lets you set any quick play like Crossout or a Runic or Called By. Well, if you want to play any of those cards in Pendulum, you are welcome. Oh yeah, some of you I think are not clear as to what Zark actually does. Fusion Synchro and Xyz monsters your opponent controls can't activate their effects. That's the Pendulum scale effect. Once per turn when a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, you can destroy that card. Cool. If this card is special summoned, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Your opponent can't target this card with card effects. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone. How do you get rid of this guy? You don't. Mirror Jade? Correct. Mirror Jade does beat it. The new card makes it so you can't banish Zark. Flu. Flu is the only deck that can beat this.